There was an evolution of the guys having a good time to where some of the guys, it became a full-time thing for them to commit minor crimes and live their life off of the proceeds.
By the 1980s, authorities said the Bandidos had grown into a widespread illegal narcotics enterprise. Members set up distribution networks and turned a profit selling drugs.
A lot of these guys are unemployed. Their gang is their occupation, it is their job. You might have 2 members that are stealing motorcycles, 2 members that are selling cocaine, a couple of members that are into marijuana.
The Bandidos branched into other criminal activities, dealing in stolen motorcycles, gun running, and prostitution.
It's an expensive lifestyle. These guys are required to travel on a regular basis. These guys have to get their money somewhere. They can't just support this off of thin air, and that's where the criminal activity comes in.
The 80s also witnessed the gang's international expansion as Bandidos converted existing motorcycle clubs into new sets. It was a new way to grow their criminal business, and before long, chapters in Australia and Europe were patching over.
You have to get international because it gives you access to foreign chapters that have access to narcotics that can help you with importation and with your drug distribution network.
The Bandidos were now a global criminal network, and law enforcement took notice. In 1985, federal agents arrested 82 members of the Bandidos in 8 states, charging them with manufacturing and selling meth. In addition to drugs, authorities seized more than 150 illegal weapons. In the 1990s, the Gulf War brought a new influx of veterans to the Bandidos. The new recruits were needed to run the gang's lucrative drug trade and fend off competition from their prime rival, the Hells Angels.
The Hells Angels believe that they should be the only outlaw motorcycle gang in existence. They think they're better than everybody else, they're smarter than everybody else, and they look down at these other gangs. If the Hells Angels had their way, they'd occupy all 50 states. But it's difficult to do that when you're fighting wars on several different fronts.
The fights between the Hells Angels and the up-and-coming Bandidos started occurring frequently. Crossing into rival territory was a hazard, especially if it was with the intention of starting a new chapter.
It's all about that bottom rocker. If you have Texas on your bottom rocker, then you're claiming Texas as your territory. Just the same as a Hells Angel would claim California with his. When you move another group into that equation, you're going to have problems.
In 1996, the Bandidos' war with the Hells Angels literally exploded. Police suspected a member of the Bandidos launched an anti-tank grenade into their rivals' headquarters in Copenhagen, Denmark. 2 people were killed. At least 15 more were injured. The Bandidos were in the biggest battle in their history, and Richard Merla, aka Scarface, was about to become a top soldier. In 1999, a man named John Portillo stepped in as president of the powerful San Antonio chapter. Merla says that Portillo tapped him to be his sergeant-at-arms, the chief of his security force.
You could depend on me. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to fade away. You know what I'm saying?
Merla possessed the quality most prized by Bandidos: loyalty to the Brotherhood. He was quickly awarded the gang's coveted Expect No Mercy patch. The patch is given to members who have done something beyond the normal call of duty for the gang.
And I ain't talking about going stealing a motorcycle for them. I ain't talking about selling dope for them, like that. More or less just taking another person's life. It's worn right here in the front, where you with the circle patch, you put it right there.
By now, violence and drugs permeated the Bandidos from top to bottom. In Houston, authorities were convinced the organization was corrupt at every level.
I've been around them. I've been in amongst them. Are there some good guys in the Bandidos? None that I personally saw. Are there some that put on a very good facade where they appear to be good guys? Sure.
In 1999, Officer Jones, who asked to have his identity concealed, went undercover with his partner to infiltrate the Bandidos as part of a Houston drug sting.
You start running into the same people, then they start remembering me. Maybe buy a drink here, buy a drink there for them, shoot a game of pool.
Officer Jones took his time, gaining the confidence of his targets.
They're intelligent. They know to have frontmen. They know to place as much insulation between them and their criminal activity as they can.
Jones and his partner started dropping hints about wanting drugs. After a few months, they were allowed to buy from the Bandidos. During the deals, they listened to members brag about stealing motorcycles. Within a year, they had infiltrated the Bandidos' operation. Every day brought new risks.
We didn't want to cross the wrong fence and find ourselves in a bind.
Their investigation uncovered large amounts of meth, cash, guns, and knives. It resulted in the arrest of 2 Bandidos. More than $250,000 worth of drugs and white supremacist material were also seized. It didn't take the Bandidos long to figure out who had betrayed them.
There was a price put on mine and my partner's head by the Bandidos. I've heard it was $10,000. My partner and I took it seriously. I don't know how many t-shirts that we found that said snitches are a dying breed.
Houston, Texas, 1999. Officer Jones and his partner had infiltrated the Bandidos, the second largest outlaw motorcycle gang, or OMG, in the world. Their sting operation resulted in 4 arrests and the confiscation of more than $250,000 worth of drugs. The Bandidos quickly figured out who had snitched and set a bounty for each officer.
My partner and I took it seriously. We took it very seriously.
The Bandidos, who insist they never target cops, eventually removed the price from their heads, but only after receiving proof that Officer Jones and his partner were policemen, not informants. Officer Jones still steers clear of the Bandidos.
There's not too many places I go where there are Bandidos, but if they're there and I show up or they show up after I'm someplace, I leave. It's not worth the risk.
Just the fact of wearing that patch carries a great deal of respect. That's somebody to be feared, somebody to be wary of. And they know that, and they feed off of that. They feed off of the fear of the public, and they like to intimidate.
San Antonio, Texas, October 20th, 2001. A Bandido named Javier Negrete was shot in the stomach and killed outside a billiard hall. Some witnesses told police Negrete had been trying to break up a fight. Hundreds of Bandidos laid Negrete to rest in an elaborate ceremony. Then they began to hunt down his killer. Richard Merla, aka Scarface, was front and center.
We had different meetings, how we're gonna do it, when we're gonna do it, and blah, 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 and who could we trust?
Police had pegged a local named Roberto Lara for the shooting and were trying to build a case against him. The Bandidos got to him first.
My mentality was I didn't want him to come and spend the rest of his life in penitentiary. I didn't want him living.
Months after Negrete's murder, Merla and a group of 4 accomplices pulled into a rest stop south of the city. It was an elaborate setup. Laura had arrived moments earlier with a woman who was actually part of the plan.
We already know what she's driving. So me and another Bandido got out of the truck and went straight to his car.
Merla and the Bandidos pulled Laura out of the car and shot him 11 times.
Once he fell to the ground, that was it. We unloaded 2 pistols, 9mm and 22. Empty it.
The police didn't have enough evidence to make an arrest, and the Bandidos got what they wanted.
What the cops do in 30 days, we'll do it in one night.
The Bandidos' effectiveness is partly due to its structure, which is organized like a corporation. One of its biggest chapters is in San Antonio, Texas. The gang also operates a national chapter with its own president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. The national chapter rotates from city to city, depending on where the national president lives. That model is then replicated in the hundreds of sets found at the local level. Members are required to pay monthly dues and attend meetings they refer to as church.
You walk in and you talk about old business from the last week or the last 2 weeks, things that still haven't been settled or decided upon. And then you go to new business and everybody gets to say what they want.
During church meetings, they're not going to have any out loud criminal conversations. So they're always under that belief that they're being watched and listened to.
The Bandidos will not initiate just anyone. African Americans are not welcome.
If you look at their clothing, a lot of the patches that they wear, it's real common to see the SS lightning bolts, to see the swastikas. These guys do embrace that ideology of white supremacy.
Women are considered nothing more than property. Girlfriends, known as old ladies, are forced to wear a patch that advertises them as Bandido property. Bandidos put their women to work as prostitutes, exotic dancers, and drug distributors. If a so-called old lady resists or talks back, the Bandidos counter with force.
Women get their teeth knocked out, they get their eyes blackened. It's common practice. And they look at it as, you know what? If things don't work out, something happens. There's a line of other women that are waiting to take her place.
There's also a waiting list to join the Bandidos. Each chapter recruits trial members.
It's kind of like a farm team that you would have in sports. You bring a person into that gang, you can kind of monitor them from afar, see how they're doing, see what kind of person they are, how they handle themselves.
If a man is well liked, he'll be invited to become a prospect.
They want the guy who's the street fighter. They want the guy that's the bar fighter. They want the guy who's got the reputation, the street creds, maybe he's been in prison 4 times, that they know hasn't cooperated with law enforcement, wouldn't cooperate with law enforcement, and will do their bidding.
Prospects are on call 24/7 and must do things like pick up brothers who've broken down on the interstate.
It's very similar to getting involved with a fraternity. You spend a year of your life doing menial tasks for all sorts of members, proving that you're worthy of wearing the patch.
It's club first. Everything's about sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. The club's first, your family, and then your job.
For Merla, street name Scarface, no sacrifice was too large if it meant joining the gang.
I was a very dedicated member, very dedicated. Really, it took a lot of time away from my family, but they understood this is what I wanted to be for the rest of my life, was a Bandido.
Once a prospect becomes a full member, he's allowed to show his gang affiliation by wearing the patch. The gang has several standard issue patches they wear on their vests. In addition to the 1%er, they might be seen sporting a number 13.
The 13 is for the letter M. It's the 13th letter in the alphabet. So it was for motorcycle.
Other patches are marked with club mottos: God forgives, Bandidos don't, and BFFB. The gang adheres to a strict set of rules. They must keep a running motorcycle, log thousands of miles riding, and go on mandatory annual road trips or runs.
It costs a lot of money to put fuel in your motorcycle, and it costs a lot of money to stay places, and it's just a very expensive lifestyle.